Hi, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're entering my favorite time of year, which is fall, Halloween, and spooky season. And there's a lot of really excellent dark academia, Gothic, romantic fantasy books on Kindle Unlimited that I want to read. The first one that really caught my eye is Monomaniac, and this is by Rafaela Carver. This is a standalone. The genres included are dark fantasy and Gothic romance. It was released on August 24th of this year and is currently sitting at a 4.23 on Goodreads. The synopsis says, throughout the entirety of her life, Ophelia Grimes has been familiar with death, be it suffered at the hands of her bloodline, an ill-fated victim forgotten in a dusty file, or even her own, before a spiritual awakening. But no haunting or omen could have prepared her for him, the mysterious man who will steal her blood, her nights, and ultimately the veil that keeps her hidden from the affairs of the living. A love born in tragedy is about to mature in blood, and both are powerless to resist its maddening roots. This sounds so good, and the cover is beautiful. I've already downloaded this to my Kindle, and hopefully I'll get to it soon. The next book on my list is Anathema by Carrie Lake. This is the first in a duology called the Eating Woods duology. Its genres listed are Gothic fantasy, dark fantasy, and romantasy. This released on September 10th of this year and is currently sitting at a 4.58 on Goodreads. The synopsis for this one says, there are whispers about what lurks in Witch Nell, the forest where sinners go to die. The village call it the Eating Woods because what's taken is never given back. Only those who've lost their senses would dare to go near it, or the banished. Maven Bronwick knows better than to breach the misty labyrinth of trees. But a tragic turn of events compels her beyond the archway of bones to a boundary no mortal has crossed before. I've heard really good things about Carrie Lake's writing, and I've never read any of her books before. The next book on my list is Nocticadia, also by Carrie Lake. This is a standalone. I love standalones. This one intrigues me a lot because the genres listed are dark academia, Gothic romance, and fantasy. Sounds right up my alley. This released on April 20th of 2023. It's currently sitting at a 4.30 on Goodreads. This is a student-teacher romance. I've heard this recommended by a lot of my favorite booktubers and book TikTokers. The next book on my list is Fairydale by Veronica Lancet. This is also a standalone. The genres listed for this one are Gothic historical romance with paranormal and horror elements. This released on August 12th of 2022, and it's currently sitting at a 4.12 on Goodreads. This one has really been blowing up on TikTok lately. A lot of my favorite TikTokers are talking about it. This one is a really long book, but since it's a standalone, I think that makes it more appealing. This one follows Miss Darcy O'Sullivan, who is an orphaned English teacher from Boston. She receives a letter that her biological father passed away, and she's included in his will. It looks like there's a love triangle and that this is where the paranormal elements come in, an encompassing love story spanning millennia. The next book on my list is Hollow Heathens by Nicole Fiorina. This is an interconnected standalone series. This is a Gothic fantasy, dark fantasy, romance. This was released October 12th of 2020, and it currently has a 4.03 on Goodreads. I can't believe I've never read this one before. I've heard such good things from multiple YouTubers and book talkers. I've been reluctant to pick this one up because when I first started, there was a whole glossary of terms at the beginning, but I think I'm just going to have to push through and read the story. This story follows Fallon, who's a girl who was taken away from her hometown as a baby and never went back. She turns 24 and gets called back to her hometown to take care of her last living relative. There, she meets Julian, who's a boy with a curse as old as centuries wrapped around his soul. They experience a nostalgic pull as if they'd been there before. This one gives all the Gothic, witchy vibes, and I can't wait to read it. Next on my list is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. This is the first in a series. It is a romantasy with Gothic and horror elements. This released on September 3rd of this year and currently has a 4.30 on Goodreads. This follows Ophelia after her and her sister find her mother brutally murdered, and Ophelia inherits her mother's magic and her debt. Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, which seems to be a competition where most contestants die. Ophelia joins too and has to face 9 floors of challenges to win. I love that this has elements of Dante's Inferno in it. That was my favorite classic that they made me read in high school. Last but not least is the Book of Azrael. This is the first in a series. Genres include dark fantasy, romantasy, and allegedly vampires. This came out April 26th of 2022. It currently has a 4.13 on Goodreads. Someone told me that this female main character gives Catherine Pierce vibes, and I'm here for that. She is my favorite character in The Vampire Diaries, which is my favorite show. I'm especially excited about this one because my friend Literary Leah on TikTok gave this book 5 stars, but my friend Destiny Reads Books DNF'd it. This one follows Diana, who sells her soul to a terrible monster to save her dying sister. Okay, I don't know what this book is about. That's so good.